Hello there and welcome to Star Wars 1000. Star Wars question of the day: could Ferus Olin become canon? Now, Ferus Olin is one of my all-time favorite Star Wars characters, and I feel like he's hardly ever talked about at all. I'm not even sure how many Star Wars fans even know who Ferus Olin is, so I'm just going to do a brief background on who he is as a character. So Ferus Olin was kind of like the frenemies of Anakin Skywalker. They both were training to become Jedi around the same time. They were both Padawans to Jedi Masters around the same time. They had like this frenemies relationship going on in Legends. Eventually, Ferus Olin decided to leave the Jedi Order due to the death of his friend, and he kind of blamed himself for the death of his friend, and it really was Anakin Skywalker's fault, but yeah, Ferus Olin blamed himself. Anakin and Ferus kind of left on good terms, and Ferus Olin stopped becoming a Jedi for a while, and then he eventually did become a Jedi again, and he became the Padawan to Obi-Wan Kenobi in between episodes 3 and 4. He went on many adventures with Obi-Wan, and then he eventually ended up splitting apart from Obi-Wan and did his own thing, still being a Jedi. Some of the adventures he went on were he fought against Boba Fett, and he went to go save Leia, and he did many fun things, and I think his character was pretty cool from Legends. And he also ended up dying in the hands of Darth Vader, which of course. But I really liked Ferus Olin, and I would like to see him come back into the canon, but the question is, could he even fit into the canon timeline? And yes and no. Obviously his story with Anakin and the academy and like them training together and having that frenemies relationship could still happen, but the adventures he had with Obi-Wan and being the Padawan to Obi-Wan and all the other adventures he had in between episodes 3 and 4 and then living for a really long time, I don't think Ferus Olin could fit into the canon in that aspect. I wish he could, and I think the perfect opportunity to introduce Ferus Olin into the canon would have been in the Kenobi series. Imagine if we had Ferus Olin flashbacks of like Anakin and Ferus Olin in the days of like in between episodes 1 and 2. We get to see like a young Anakin as a Padawan to Kenobi, and we get to see Ferus Olin, and we get to see their relationship. I think having Ferus Olin into the Kenobi series would have been a good idea in my opinion, because it would have related to both Anakin and Obi-Wan. They could have also brought in the aspect of how Ferus Olin was Obi-Wan's Padawan during the events in between episodes 3 and 4, which would have been cool too. They could have brought that concept into the canon as well. And I think it would have been interesting for Ferus Olin to fight Vader at one point as well, because it was like his kind of like his friend slash enemy, and they were rivals. They had like history, and I think that would have been interesting to see that in the canon in the Kenobi series. And I think it would have been a good character to have in that show. It's a missed opportunity in my opinion. You know, it is what it is. I still like the Kenobi series a lot, and it's fine for what it is. I think it was good, but I feel it would have been better if we had Ferus Olin in that series. I think that would have been the perfect series to introduce him into the canon. But now at this point, I don't think Ferus Olin could really fit anywhere in the timeline except in between episodes 1 and 2, like in Legends. And I guess he could die during that time in between episodes 1 and 2. So yes, he could come into the canon, but if he comes into the canon, I think he only fits into the timeline where like his story fits into in between episodes 1 and 2. But anything after that, like his adventures in between episodes 3 and 4 and how he becomes a Jedi again, I don't think that really fits into the canon timeline. Maybe it can, but there's no way Ferus Olin is going to become the Padawan to Obi-Wan Kenobi, because I don't think Obi-Wan's going to be leaving Tatooine again. He's such like an important character. I think we would have heard his name by now, but Ferus Olin is nowhere to be seen in between episodes 3 and 4. Or maybe he's just like hiding. Maybe he could be alive, but he just doesn't want to become a Jedi. Maybe he becomes a Jedi again later on in the timeline, and instead of Ferus Olin becoming a Jedi again in between episodes 3 and 4, maybe he decides to become a Jedi again in between episodes 5 and 6. So yes, I feel Ferus Olin could fit into the canon timeline, but his story would need to be changed drastically, and the events that happened with his life in between episodes 1 and 2 could still happen in the canon timeline in my opinion, but his story would be changed a good amount, unfortunately. So to wrap up the video, may the Force be with you always.